Morning everyone, this is Brigstock from Menu 100. Currently on the way to the tube stop, working on something really exciting today. Flying out to Poland to check out Cronos the New Dawn, a new horror game from the Bloober Team. The team's behind the Silent Hill 2 remake. Sorry if I'm out of breath, I'm just walking up the hill to the tube stop. It's about 5:45 in the morning. Got a morning flight into Krakow, and this is going to be a behind the scenes look at the tour of the game and everything like that, so enjoy. Oh, that was a long trip getting here. Knackered now, it's only like 7:30 now, so it's like 6:30 back in the UK. And I'm ready for bed already. Big day tomorrow, can't wait to check out Cronos, it looks unreal. It looks like Bloober's been cooking again, we shall see. Can't wait to bring some behind the scenes footage from the tour as well. Catch you tomorrow.
Right then, let's get stuck in with the preview for Cronos the New Dawn. The gameplay footage you're seeing has been provided by Bloober Team. Cronos the New Dawn is set in an alternate reality in the throes of the Change, a cataclysmic event that changed humanity forever, and the Steelworks, where the tour was at Nowa Huta, are ground zero for it. Players take on the role of a heavily armoured traveller who must survive a brutal post-apocalyptic world filled with gruesome monsters that can merge into more powerful foes to find rifts to travel back in time to 1980s Poland to extract and save key people. Decisions made in terms of who to save and not affect how the story plays out. Developers have said the game will last around 16 hours or so for the main campaign itself, and in my preview, for the first 2 or so of those, I was thrown straight into it without too much context. A few questions forming a cognitive test were navigated before I was let loose as the traveller in the moody wasteland, tasked with initially navigating through it to find the previous traveller who died on their mission. The game feels a bit like Dead Space to begin with, in that it's a third-person perspective with a heavily armoured main protagonist, but the traveller feels a lot heavier and bulkier than Isaac Clarke. The traveller starts armed with a pistol and finds more useful resources in the world, which is dimly lit, foggy and just plain dark when having to navigate through destroyed buildings. It's in the buildings and underground where this game feels at its most frightening in its opening stages, because of its tight spaces and dark lighting. They do an incredible job of creating tension when navigating through the world. As well as weapons, useful resources can be crafted, although some components are used to craft other items. So real consideration needs to be given to think about what's best for each situation, and gear can be upgraded too. I found myself really poring over these decisions as they really are crucial in determining how certain situations play out. There's no minimap. There is a compass that can be toggled to show the direction players need to head in, but keeping the HUD completely clear successfully adds to the sense of immersion. Now, the key tagline for this game is "Don't let them merge," and developers have pushed this very hard. This could have fallen into the trap of being a bit of a gimmick of something trying to make Cronos the New Dawn stand out in the horror space that can get old quite quickly. But it becomes immediately apparent that this needs to be avoided at all costs, and it's truly where the tactical element of the game shines through in its early stages. Monsters can be defeated with weapons or melee attacks, but their bodies remain, and these can be merged with other foes to create an even more powerful monster for the player to have to take down. And they can merge more than once. This not only makes them bigger and more powerful, but also gives them the abilities of each monster that's merged. One merge is bad enough, anything more than that is just downright dangerous. To stop enemies from merging, bodies of those defeated can be burned with fire to fully destroy them. But fire is a very finite resource, and that twinned with the scarce ammo really means you need to plan and work out how best to tackle areas with multiple enemies. And that's part of Cronos the New Dawn. You will die working this out. You will. And I did that a lot. It's quite a difficult game in the opening stages as it is, as the monsters can deliver devastating blows, but adding in this tactical element on top of that makes it even more challenging, but ultimately increases the feeling of reward when working out what doesn't work and successfully adapting. Another tactical element is the pistol and shotgun found early on can both be charged up to deliver more devastating blows. Uncharged shots naturally fire faster but deal significantly less damage, whereas the charged shots genuinely take a noticeable amount of time to hit their maximum impact. This creates a very fine balance between striking quickly on a foe bearing down on you and dealing meaningful damage. Charged shots are king where possible, but frequently it isn't. Usually horror games do focus on ammo and health preservation, and there is that here of course, but adding in these new tactical elements truly does make Cronos the New Dawn unique in this regard. It makes every single encounter tense in the early hours. The moment you think you've got it figured out, you're going to be given a rude awakening immediately. Throughout the world are anomalies, which are environmental puzzles that need to be solved in order to progress. A rift weapon can be used to fix these, but sometimes players will then need to backtrack slightly to move forward. In buildings, there are also puzzles to solve, such as keys and fuses to find in order to progress, and exploring usually yields more vital resources, so it's important to go off the beaten path to gain a needed advantage. Developers were quite coy about boss fights before this event, but I got to experience the first one at the end of the preview. It was a menacing, towering monster that had weak points that needed to be hit with charged shots multiple times in order to be taken down. Charged shots here made working openings and landing consistently accurate blows absolutely crucial, or else it would result in inevitable death. Quite a lot more of that happened than I would like to admit. There needs to be a huge shout out to the menacing 80s inspired soundtrack too. I can't wait to hear more of it, especially as the soundtrack has been teased to sound more futuristic at times as well, adding to its variety. While the 80s past setting itself and choices in these scenarios were not experienced during this preview, developers have said these will have a huge weighting going forward, and there are multiple different endings for players to experience. Here's to hoping Cronos the New Dawn can sustain the tension, horror and strong tactical element throughout its duration, and not fall into the trap that many horror games do of becoming predictable, repetitive and losing a bit of that fear factor as the hours go on. Its merge mechanic is likely to hold the key to this.
Back in the hotel room now after checking out Cronos the New Dawn and a tour of Nowa Huta. And I've got to say, with Cronos, very excited to see what the full game has in store. Can't wait to review it. That's it for the behind the scenes stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to hopefully do a few more bits like that as and when the opportunity, the chances arrive. Should hopefully have one coming up in a few weeks that I'm very excited about. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, be sure to check us out in the 100 on all the socials.